Yo, what is going on, guys? I'm back again with another art video. It's been a lot. Well, it hasn't been a lot longer than I'd like it to be, but it's been longer than I'd like it to be in between videos because I've been very busy with other stuff. But yeah, so I'm back again with just a video about archetypes and about like what archetypes kind of really say about design. So me personally, I feel like I draw a lot of archetypes, and that's because I'm inspired by a lot of things, you know, that are kind of not, I wouldn't say cliche, but I'd say things big in kind of fantasy, anime, comic book culture. So this image that I'm painting right now, and I specifically remember where I was when I did this. I'm a photographer and a videographer, and I was shooting some video for a company, and we had a break, and so in the UK we have football, the rest of the world calls it soccer. Well, no, most of the world calls it football, but America calls it soccer and stuff, and I think Japan calls it soccer, but we call it football over here. So there's a football kind of a big kind of charity game for all my city's kind of like ex-pro footballers from the city that I'm from, and I was hired to do the video work. And I remember sitting around and having this idea of drawing like a small human character, like a pilot or something, with like a big mech behind him or something like that. And that's an archetype, because like Gundam, all these different shows have that kind of thing going on. Now, I never really intended this guy to be the pilot. I more intended the mech to be like, I don't know, his assistant or under his control or something, but he doesn't intentionally get in it. But still, the archetype still exists, that you've got this pilot guy and you've got this big mech in the background. And it just was something I started painting because I thought that would be something that would make sense in terms of like how we go about the creationary process. So that itself was me kind of like throwing back to my kind of like mental library and seeing like an archetype of how these things work, and an archetype of like characters and ideas, and from a lot of the things I've experienced. But there's nothing wrong with creating archetypes. It's just a good way to kind of get your creativity going. I think if there's usually kind of some kind of a character that I want to create, and I always try and do that. I always try and create the type of character that I would like to create. But as I said, there's a bunch of different archetypes, and this one was the Gundam pilot, or the robot pilot, or the giant robotic kind of helper, and the small kind of hero human character, and just there's a bunch. There's like the feral princess, the superhero, that flies. We always draw superhero characters flying. Obviously Marvel's got more dynamic characters like Spider-Man that swing, but the most dynamic superhero silhouette is a character flying. So there's just a bunch of archetypes that work out, and we should use them more often to create more art. And when I make these videos, I'm wholly making them because I want people to just make more artwork. I don't want them to be like me and they just have so much artwork that it's overwhelming to even look through their Procreate files. I want it to be like they're just making more, they're creating more, they're like unhinged, they're freaking unbound, and they can just create, and keep creating and be happy, and because I feel like the creationary process is massive in happiness. But as I said before, if you're into stuff, anime, manga, music, fantasy stuff, there's always an archetype. Like the Black Knight's an archetype, the White Knight's an archetype, the Evil Dragon's an archetype. There's a bunch of archetypes that you can use that can really kind of express yourself. You can express yourself with these things without them actually belonging to you, and you can kind of build your own take on these things. You can merge a few of them together. The White Knight merged with the dragon. Maybe he's got a dragon shield that shoots fire out of it. I don't know. There's a bunch of things that you can do utilizing archetypes to your advantage to kind of get a better result overall. But I think this painting is kind of coming to an end now, getting to the last stages of the process. And it's always interesting when I get to this part of the process, because I start to see the little things I did to tie things over. Like I gave him a little weapon, I gave him these little sashes. I tried to show that his backpack's really big. I messed with his hand. Like I just did a lot of little things, just little tweaks. And as you see, I did this with no sketch layer. So I kind of just went in and did this from paint. in Procreate with the square brush. And Procreate's brush engine is not bad at all, to be fair. It's not the same as Photoshop, so I've talked about this a bunch of times, but it is pretty good. So overall, when I was kind of getting down to the nitty gritty of it, it was really easy to add details, and I literally just used one brush this whole process because I wanted to see how my stuff would look with just a square brush. And it's weird because I really should have probably done more stuff like this, and I just didn't. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the process. Please like and subscribe, share if you want to, it helps me get off the ground. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.